Guys, what are we talking about today? Well, on the table in front of you are a bunch of knives. We're not going to talk about the knives per se. What we're going to talk about is the steel that's used in their blades. I think that there's a handful of steels that used to be kind of the pinnacle and used to be their super steels in their right that have been pushed by the wayside and been labeled as garbage budget steels, and I don't think it's fair. So we're going to look at 5 steels that I think have gotten a bad rap. So let's turn it around and get started. Guys, like I said in the intro, there are a bunch of knives here. They're all in steels that have been questioned over the years. We're not going to look at all of them. We're going to start off with these two right here, AR-RPM 9, because I think some of these steels have gotten a bad rap. So let's go ahead and get everything else out of the way and talk about AR-RPM 9. So AR-RPM 9, both these knives are in AR-RPM 9. That is a steel that Artisan and CJRB started using. It is a proprietary powdered metallurgy. Now, a lot of people will tell you, oh, it's just powdered 9CR. That's not true. There's other elements that are added to this, and this has some properties that are different than 9CR. So first and foremost, I like AR-RPM 9, and a lot of people have given it a bad rap. They say it doesn't sharpen well, and they say it doesn't hold up well. I find exactly the opposite. It's really a good budget steel in the fact that it gives you good edge retention, decent edge retention, a lot of rust and corrosion resistance, but what it has going for it is it's easy, really easy to maintain. I find the AR-RPM 9 can be stropped up super easily on very simple strops. One of the best ways to do AR-RPM 9 is with, believe it or not, newspaper on a block of wood. It seems to be about the perfect stropping material. I have gotten AR-RPM 9 to a point where it was visibly not cutting. It was no longer sharp, and been able to strop it back up to paper cutting and hair popping sharp. So there's some things that play in the chemistry of this that makes it a good bit different than 9CR. 9CR is a good steel in its own right. We'll probably talk about that in another video. But AR-RPM 9 has some really good qualities, and the fact that it's a powdered metallurgy and it's a budget steel, it gives you a lot of bang for your buck. And a lot of people have said, well, it's just a variant of this or a variant of that. Anytime you change chemistry in a steel, even a little bit, you wind up with something new. It doesn't take a lot of a change. And if it's heat treated properly, most steels are pretty good. So there's AR-RPM 9. I don't know why it gets such a bad rap. I'm really a fan of it. So let's move on to our next steel, which is LMAX. And I have never understood this. I don't understand why LMAX gets such a bad rap. There was an issue at one point where companies were grinding it too hot and they were burning the edges. As a matter of fact, this knife came with a bit of a burnt edge, and after a couple sharpenings, it got to where it held that edge incredibly well. LMAX is one of those steels that is very easy to sharpen, very easy to work with. From what I understand from knife makers, it's easy to grind, and it takes a really good finish. But the thing about LMAX is it's very resilient. What had happened was at the beginning, a lot of people were coming out, well, LMAX doesn't hold an edge, and they would get their knife out of box and it wouldn't hold an edge. And that has happened with a few companies in the past that were dealing with LMAX. But once companies got it figured out and realized that they were grinding it too hot, too fast, not enough coolant on their grinds, they realized what the problem was. This knife, now that it has been sharpened a bunch of times, as a matter of fact, holds an incredible edge. It takes a beautiful polished edge, and it is one of those steels that has a very aggressive, sticky, sharp feel to it. I've never had issues with knives in LMAX. I have several knives in LMAX, not just this one. This one's the most visually striking. I have had several knives in LMAX, still own a few of them, that do a great job, hold a great edge, even in heavy use. This isn't a heavy use knife, but I have a few knives in LMAX that are just amazing. I actually do some heavy cutting with my XO from React, the gravity knife. That is in LMAX. So what I'm saying is, if the steel's been properly heat treated and it's been properly ground, even if you do happen to have a burnt edge, once you get that edge off, you wind up, the underlying steel is just incredibly good. This thing is nasty sharp. It probably needs a touch up because I can definitely see a lot of scratching and stuff on it. But yeah, LMAX is one of my favorite steels. It's one of my favorite steels to sharpen. I love the edge it takes, and it really doesn't take a lot to get it really sharp. And it seems to hold that edge really well. And it's another steel that strops fairly well and will hold up and be maintainable. So there's your second one. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. You guys caught me doing a little bit of housekeeping in between videos. Well, since you're here, let's do a quick talk about something. This is one of my favorite affiliates that I have. This is Coffee Brand Coffee. You can save 5% on your overall order if you use my coupon code CrazySharp at checkout. So go check them out. This is the best flavored coffee I've ever had. N690 and N690 Cobalt. So this knife is done in N690 Cobalt. I think it's written on here. So just a variant of N690. I love N690. N690 is really easy to sharpen. It holds its edge really well if it's heat treated well. Both of these knives are in N690. This is N690 and then this is an N690 Cobalt. But I love N690. It's a really good steel as far as use and being resilient and holding its edge. It's got really good edge retention if it's heat treated properly. And then the N690 Cobalt just takes a completely different type of edge. This has an edge on it that is really aggressive and crispy. That's the thing that you're going to find about all these steels that I really like here. They take a specific type of edge, which is very, very aggressive, even at higher grits. So N690 is another one that a lot of knife companies use, and people are like, oh, I can't believe that you pay that much for N690. And what people forget is a lot of times custom knife makers will pick a steel and work in it. I do know that there's some South African knife makers that love N690. Same, Bob Trezola likes 154 CM. So a lot of times what you're paying for isn't the steel, you're paying for the craftsmanship. But these are very good steels, and what happens is they get overlooked, and they are very good budget steels, but they also can be up into that higher end thing. At one point, N690 was one of the up and coming super steels. So people forget that. There's a lot of these steels that we're talking about that were at their heyday, the super steel, and now people are like, oh, that's just a garbage steel. Well, if it wasn't a garbage steel 15 years ago, it's not a garbage steel now. And that's one of the big misconceptions. But no, I love N690 Cobalt even more than I love N690. It's just one of those steels that it holds up to the rigors of most of the things you're going to do. It's easy to maintain. It's easy to sharpen. You don't have to have any specific equipment. You don't need diamond stones. You can just get your off-the-shelf stones, which is a common thing with all these steels we've been talking about. So there you go, N690 and N690 Cobalt. So let's move on to the next one. 14C28N, you guys knew this one was going to show up. I love 14C28N, and it is a definite budget steel, but the thing it has going for it, like all the other steels, it is another one of those steels that holds up really well. Decent corrosion resistance, rust resistance. Edge retention is on par with a lot of other steels at the heat treat that a lot of companies are using for it. It's easy to work with, and it is cheap, but the fact is, I personally, if given a choice of some of the super steels today and 14C28N, will definitely take 14C28N. Why? Because of the ease of sharpening and things like that. The fact is you can get a really good, very, very good knife in a quality steel that's going to hold up well. And a lot of times that really aggressive edge that you can get on some of these steels is going to be what you want. Now, I can take this steel pretty much through any of the grits I want. I can take it to 4,000 or 5,000 grit and still have an aggressive bitey edge. Some of your more modern powdered metallurgies and super steels, you can't do that with. ARPM9's a case in point. I love ARPM9, but if you take it above about 800 to 1,000 grit, it slicks up and it doesn't seem like it wants to cut because of that super fine grain structure. The grains are so much smaller. In this, your carbides are more angular and aggressive, and they aren't as small, and so you get a much more aggressive edge at almost any grit. And like I said, I don't have to have a diamond stone for this. It's not like some of the super steels where, yes, I can do it on aluminum oxide, but the fact is that there's things that people talk about like carbide tear out and carbide shattering, which by the time you're getting to that point, most people are already sharpening their knife again. But the flip side of that is, this doesn't need that. You don't, like M390, you can sharpen it on aluminum oxide. It's just going to take you a long time. I don't have to have a diamond stone to speed up the process. I can do it on just regular stones. These are your everyman workaround at the shop, run around a job site, got an Arkansas stone in a slip in your pocket to touch it up at work. That's this kind of steel, and that's more the kind of steel that I gravitate to these days. So there you go. 14C28N. I think you guys saw that coming. So the last one is D2 steel. And D2 steel is a steel that has been around for a very long time, and rightly so. It is another one of those steels that just is a full package with all the other stuff we talked about early. Ease of sharpening, ease of maintainability, things like that. It does have some problems with corrosion and stuff like that, but what it has going for it with a lot of these other steels and why they're still in use, heat treat is hard to screw up on this. There are some steels that are really, really specific on their heat treat. And if you're off by a little bit, you are screwed. S125V is like that. If you're off by just a little bit, your heat treat is screwed and you just burnt that material up and screwed it up and wasted it. D2, 14C28N, and these steels that we've been talking about are not like that. D2 takes a very, very good edge. It's another one of those steels you don't have to have any specific type of stone to sharpen on. It does really good on natural, on ceramic, on your water stones, like your composite stones, things like that. And it's not one of those steels that is going to be difficult to sharpen in the field, which is what I like about all of these. So D2 has been the go-to for a lot of companies, a lot of knife makers for a long time. And it definitely still holds up in my opinion. But D2, of all these knives, of all the steels we've seen, D2 is my least favorite of them. But I can't say that it's a bad steel. It really isn't. It's just got some minor issues. So there you go, guys. That's all of them. I didn't have as much to say about D2 because it's not, of all the ones we looked at, it's my least favorite. And there's kind of a honorable mention, which is 9CR. 9CR is another steel that has been around for a while. This is the honorable mention. 9CR has been around for a long time, and it gets a bad rap too. And if done well, if heat treated well, 9CR is a really good budget steel for knives that you're looking at. Now, this knife was never released in 9CR. I have a prototype that was in 9CR. So there you go, guys. That was 5 steels that I kind of think get a bad rap that I really like. These are steels that are on a list that people are like, oh, those don't buy that. That's garbage steel. I disagree. I love all of the steels that we've talked about to varying degrees. So let's turn this around and send you back out about your day. There you go, guys. That was 5 steels that I think kind of get a bad rap that's undeserved. Now, like I said, there are some steels out there that do get a bad rap, and rightfully so. There are some just bad steels out there. One of them, in my opinion, is BD1. I'm not a big fan of BD1 steel. But like I said, 14C28N I find to be an amazing steel, and there's a lot of times that I would prefer 14C28N over some of the more modern super steels because I just enjoy the benefits of that steel better than some of the super steels. So I don't have to have like a specific set of additional tools to sharpen it. So but if you guys like super steels, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of knives in super steels, and I've made knives in some super crazy exotic steels. So it's all up to personal opinion. Guys, that's it. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. If you do hit the bell icon, make sure you've got it set to all, and make sure you've got notifications turned on your device. Likes are the best thing you can do for a channel. It helps push us up the algorithm. It shows YouTube that you find value in our content. So if you're watching a video for more than 15 seconds, please drop a like. If you want to support the channel financially, there's a ton of affiliate links down below. Any of them that you use support the channel directly. It doesn't cost you anything at checkout. The Amazon one's down below. Anything you purchase, even if it's not the item you clicked on, I get credit for it. It's like a door into my affiliate store. Coffee Brand Coffee, 5% off. Please go support Jeremy. Check out the coffees. Use my affiliate link. Go check them out. Jeremy's been banned on Twitter for a BS reason, and that means that he can't publicize his coffee, tea, and cocoa the way he wants. And the final way you can support the channel is I have a membership down below. It's all tier-based. Everyone that's in the memberships gets access to my gilded server. Baseline and premium tier members are... Sorry about that, helicopter. What I was saying is everyone has access to my gilded server. It's just like Discord. Baseline and premium tier members are automatically enter into giveaways I do on a Gilded server, and the premium tier guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series here on YouTube behind that paywall. Guys, that's it on this one. Keep it clean in the comment section. Makes it easier for me to moderate the channel. I love you all. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and I'll see you in the next video.